Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing an exclusive review on the White's DFX. And this is the 300, which is no different than the White's DFX, the original that came out in 2001. It's just this one came out in 2008 and it utilized a 12-inch coil. Now, I bought this on eBay with little to no use on it for about $500 about 5 years ago. And I have put probably over 600 hours behind this, and since I bought it, I've probably made over 1600 in gold just from rings and chains alone that I found with it. Maybe over 2000. I found like 10 rings and a $600 chain with this. So it's been a good investment. It's given me something to do. And today I'm just going to share pretty much everything I know about this. And I will walk you through my custom program that I use when I park hunt. So I came from the XLT, which is a lot like this with a little bit fewer programs, and it was a single frequency machine. But one of the things that I absolutely love about the DFX, you get, it's like negative 95 to positive 95, and you get like 190 something audio tones. I mean, for every single VDI number. And if you look right here, I don't know if y'all can pause the video maybe, if I can get the camera to focus. It's wanting to focus on me. There it goes. If you pause the video there, you can see the VDI readout. And they pretty much tell you everything right there. Uh, I actually have this nice little cover because if you notice, there's the audio holes there for the speaker. Like, listen, if I turn it on here, yep, nice little sound. As you check your battery, goes to preset programs, basic adjustments, pro options. Go to preset programs. They have coins. They have coin and jewelry, jewelry and beach, relic prospecting. Then I have my custom programs. New, coin and jewelry plus silver. Then I have gold, my gold program. Then I have my another coin and jewelry program. Then I have my big coil pro program. And when I say big coil, yeah, some days I run the accelerator 14-inch on it, and this just gives me excellent coverage. You will wear your arm out. I can only run this coil for about three hours max, and then I'm back to the 950, which I love. And that's one thing I should have mentioned a second ago. When I bought the DFX 300, I bought the 300 because it was released in 2008. So mechanically, this was the newest DFX I could get. But I immediately got rid of that 12-inch coil because that thing was heavy. It didn't shoot as deep as that Accelerator 2, that 14-inch. The pinpointing was not as good as the standard coil, which was one of these. And then, after getting one of the thicker ones, this is the newer version, I did some reading and they had the older version that's thin, same exact coil. And this is my favorite coil. I love this coil. So I found a lot of gold with that coil. The pinpointing on these is excellent. I mean, literally, you can get it just right in the center, and it's great. So good coil. I mean, that ratchet pinpointing, that VCO isolation, you can hit right in the center, and you can literally take a knife and it'll even tell you the depth. Most machines do that nowadays, though, of course. But you got to remember, this thing came out 2001 and then was re-released in 2014 with a bigger coil. Uh, I do have this little Polish cover, like I was saying, keeps the dust out, and I got that on eBay, and it's been completely worth it. Once you put that on, then this kind of reaches around, and that just covers your battery. They stitched it very nice, so when you're at the park, now you kind of have your machine protected. So that might be something to look into because you're always lying this down on the ground and that sort of thing. So the DFX, we're shooting a 3 kilohertz and a 15 kilohertz dual frequency spectrum. What's happening here, the 15 kilohertz is much better for conductors like aluminum, foil, nickel, gold, your lower tones, generally like from 0 to about, let's say, 50, that range. your 15 kilohertz shines there, while your 3 kilohertz is going to do much better with coins, anything like 50 and up, especially in the 70s or the 80s. You can hunt in single frequency mode. You could just shoot a 3 kilohertz or just shoot a 15 kilohertz. And I've actually noticed when I've taken a loop like this and I set it up and run my air test with like a gold bracelet or something, the 15 kilohertz would hit and give me a +4 on like a gold bracelet. And I've done the same thing when I was there's two other modes. You could do single frequency, 3 kilohertz or 15, or you get correlate. That's when it shoots the 3 kilohertz and the 15 kilohertz simultaneously. And then it's actually reading the data from both. And if they both are good VDI readouts, it goes through VDI normalization. And if they're both good, it'll display on the screen, and then it'll, give you your correlated target, your VDI. I don't really use that one. I've read that it's good for homesteads with lots of iron or stuff like that. I don't know a lot about that, but the other program that I do use is called Best Data. So it's going to shoot down the 3 kilohertz and the 15 kilohertz, and then whichever one has the clearer VDI reading, that's what it displays on your monitor. So that's the program I'm going to share with y'all today, my Best Data Park program on the DFX. And just like I said, my experience with the machine. Great machine. I do have one other coil to show y'all, the 5.3 Eclipse. Tell you what, this is a really good coil for bleachers or high trash areas. But keep in mind, you could spend an hour and a half working 500 square feet. Because this is going to pick up every gum wrapper, I can't tell you how many times I've dug up BBs or pellets from a pellet gun, tiny pieces of foil, like a tenth the size of a dime, with this coil, and even the 950 loop. This here will hit that tiny stuff too. So the DFX is good at finding small targets. I will say the MXT, I think, can find a little bit smaller targets. One of the things on the MXT, they both use the same coils, and I have both machines, you guys. You can actually see the MXT right there. And then up here is my Nakota Macro Simplex. So, I've had a few machines. I kind of know what I'm talking about on some of this stuff, and I use them frequently. I will say this is my favorite loop. I can just cover more ground, pinpoints well, and this will hit quarters at 9.5 inches. So I like this machine, and it VDIs at 9.5 inches. That's about like somewhere around right here, about that deep. Hitting quarters. It's a great machine. Now, let me go ahead and give you that program before I just keep rumbling on about how good this thing is, because I really enjoy it. So the first thing you're going to do, I know you can't see this, but just bear with me. I see my preset programs, my basic adjustments, my pro options. You want to go to preset programs, okay? From preset programs, then you have the standard coins right there, jewelry and beach. I like to load the coin program actually. So I go ahead and you load that up. But in this case, I'm not, because I'm going to go to the custom program, which I have called Coin and Jewelry plus Silver. New Coin and Jewelry plus Silver. That's what I call this program. It's a best data program. So I'm going to go ahead and load it up. And I don't have a coil on it, so there's no balancing here. Yeah, it can't do it. There's no coil. Still's trying though. Okay. So now this is the way I run this. This is what the program looks like. It's a modified program taken from coins. And in the basic adjustments, target volume 57, audio threshold 20, tone 231 for me. I think all this is the same. Silent search off, mix mode off. AC sensitivity, I run it in 80. Okay. DC sensitivity, I run it in 42. Backlighting 0. I'm going to go ahead and turn on this backlight just so y'all can see this thing better. So that way you can see it better. Now, viewing angle 25. Now, if I go to my audio, well, actually, let me see. I hit the trigger by accident. So GEB track, auto track, I have it on. I have track view off. Auto track speed 8. Auto track offset 0. Track inhibit on. Coarse GEB 133. Fine GEB 152. Then your disk edit and your block edit. Pretty much as far as your disk edit and your block edit, on your disk edit, you're going to want to take everything that's negative 95 to 0. 0 is you keep, you accept, but -1 through -95 you reject. That's my advice. If you want, that's what I do. And then learn accept, I have that one off. Learn reject off. Recovery speed, I use a 20. Bottle cap reject 4. That's another good thing about the DFX that I failed to mention in another video. I do not dig bottle caps. That MXT, I do dig them. Hot rock reject 10. Sweep speed 10. Ground filtering 4. Visual disk on. Icons on. Icons are just fun. VDI sensitivity 80. Most of this, like I said, it's just the coins program, but I've tweaked a few things. And that's why I'm reading it all off here. DC phase is off. Graph auto graphing, no, average graphing, I have that on. Graph accumulate on. Fade rate 7. Preamp gain 3. That's an important one right there. Put your preamp gain on 3. Now, if for some reason your machine on your soil conditions, it won't stay stable, leave that preamp gain on 3 if you can, the preamp gain. Just take your AC sensitivity down to 70 instead of 80. And you can even take the DC down to 38. You know, preamp gain, AC and DC sensitivity, that's pretty much your power, your depth. You're going to have to mess with that for your soil level. Now, you see 2 frequencies. I have the best data. So that's what I'm using. And that's pretty much it, you guys. When you set it up like this, then you're going to have that thing pretty much optimized where you're shooting the 3 kilohertz, the 15. And there's one other thing I just remembered on the audio. Audio tones. This is real important. Let me find out where it was real quick. Yeah, ratchet pinpointing on. Okay. Sat speed 5. Tone ID on. I like this. Tone ID, that right there. That gives you all the audio tones. That way you literally are sweeping the ground. You're hearing everything in the ground. You don't even have to look. VCO, that's your pinpointing, I believe. When it homes in, when you hold the trigger on a DFX, after you sweep the target, you hold the trigger. And when you hold that trigger, it just took me back into search mode. When you hold the trigger, that's going to pretty much go in. You can either hold it or you can push it forward and it holds itself. That goes into your VCO pinpointing. So yeah, that's how I run it, you guys. And I have found all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's and here's my advice: dig every, anything at a negative, well, not negative, anything at a positive, because you can't. Anything negative is going to be discriminated. But anything from 0 to +10, that's your gold range. Bracelets mostly, small earrings, things like that. You're going to dig a lot of aluminum foil, just dig it. A lot of can slaw, dig it. Miscellaneous things, buttons off clothing, small ones, Levi, who knows, dig it. Then you're going to get to, get like 10, 12, 11, 12 ring range, 14, 16 beaver tails, old style beaver tails, 20, 18 to 20 is a nickel, like 22, that's like a modern pull tab. And keep in mind, as I'm quoting all this, this is with VDI normalization, which is already turned on in the machine, and that's standard unless you deactivate that. But that just makes it read as it says on the front here. And then you go up from there, you get your pull tabs at like 28 to 34, somewhere in there. It's a good ring range too, so you just got to dig it. And then anything in the 40s, always dig it. You will get modern pull tabs in the 40s, like bigger ones. And that always gets me because I see that clear, smooth 42, 42, 42. I'm like, burp, burp. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to pull out a wedding band? And then it's a big pull tab. But you got to do it. Uh, then you get into the 50s, bottle cap, 60s, you know, the zinc pennies in that area, somewhere around there. And then I think 78's a copper penny. 80, 81, 80 and 81 is a clad dime. 81, 82 is more silver dime. 83, 84, that's quarter range. And then up from there, I haven't really ever found a silver half or a like a Morgan dollar or anything like that. So, I mean, it goes to 95. So, anyways, great machine, you guys. You just got to dig it all and you got to learn it. And you can go and edit out, a 22 if you're digging a lot of modern pull tabs. It might be worth it. Heck, I don't know. I mean, but you might miss a ring. I've found a few rings that were 22s. So that's up to you. It just depends on your field and your location and is it worth to edit it out? You have to make that call, but this will hit rings. It on the 15 kilohertz, you can hit them at 8 and 10 inches, probably even 10 inch. I don't know, 9.5. The MXT will hit 10 inches. You get just a tiny bit more depth on the MXT for whatever reason. Uh, I don't know. And one thing I want to say, this DFX, there is like a tenth of a second that is kind of a processing. You will beep right when you go over it, but it's a little, you can tell if something's being processed. And I know V3i and Spectra V, they have that same thing. I mean, there's a lot of computing going on here. So, like, that's why I was saying, if you're just getting into metal detecting, that MXT, it's over there on the floor behind me right there. That's a quicker, it reminds me more of an analog machine. It's instant. And you get good depth, and it's just turn it on and go. So but you don't have the audio tone ID. You don't have all those different tones. You miss out on some stuff. And they both use the same coils. That's why I have them both. I can use all my coils on them. But good machine, you guys. Don't know what else to say. It's a lot of fun. You want to get a good shovel, like one of those ground shark shovels or something. You're gonna spend 60 or 70 bucks on your shovel, but it's okay. You're gonna use it. I mean, geez, you don't buy a $500 metal detector to get a garden tool out there. So start doing soccer fields, baseball fields, high traffic areas, and dig it all. That's my advice. And that program right there, Coin and Jewelry Best Data, like I said, discriminate out -95 to -1. Get rid of that on the disk edit. Block edit, it's not as important. It just kind of follows the disk edit. Discriminate that out. Use best data. Creep up your AC sensitivity and your preamp gain to as high as you can keep it stable in your soil. For me, that's typically 80 on the AC sensitivity, 42 on DC, and a preamp gain of 3. That's just what I run with. I could get 10 inches of depth if I went to 4 on preamp gain, but only some soils will allow me to do that. So, like tot lots, those little wood chips, I can do it in there sometimes if there's no power lines around. This machine's not bad with power lines at all. I will definitely recommend these 950 loops though. I've had the 10-inch White's Double D that's on the MXT All Pro, and I like these better. This is so light, like the older ones like this. It's actually lighter than the newer style. They're both great though. Get either one. I'm just saying, if you can find the older one, if they're both on eBay or something, get the older one. And you can also tell the difference in the hookup piece. This is the newer style. This is the older. Same piece though. But yeah, get you a good pair of headphones. You can adjust the volume, but a good pair of White's headphones is definitely going to make a difference. But I don't care if this machine was made in 2001. It has more features. It's like the features are like that Deus or whatever it's called. It has a lot of, it's ahead of its time. And people that say White's machines don't get good depth, they're just wrong. It's all coils. You go put this coil on it and crank up that sensitivity and tell me you don't get good depth. This is going to hit, if I was over in the East Coast somewhere hunting for, reals and large cents and, all those colonial coins, this is what I'd be running. I might have to get a chest harness to run it 6 hours a day, but I'd get it. I don't. This thing gets heavy. It's not that heavy, but it is. It just, I don't know. Lot there's I don't know. I wish I could. I'm not good with weight necessarily. I wouldn't say it's twice as heavy, but it's at least time and a half. So, well, that's my experience on the DFX, you guys. That's my park coin and jewelry program that I kind of read off there. It's modified from the coins program. So, I also heard that you can modify the relic program and just creep up the AC and DC sensitivity pre-up gain. You can get good depth there. I would just make sure that they don't, remove anything on the disc, because you don't want to lose targets. Just be careful with that. But the only thing I can say, I had to repair it once. If you can see, there's the screw. It used to be on the outside. I had to put a little metal plate in there. Be careful not to hit this piece. You just can bump it getting in and out of the vehicle. It's nice and solid now, but I mean I did have to repair that at one point, and I think that plastic housing was like probably 30 bucks or something from White's, so I just found a way to repair it, and it's a good repair. It's solid. But yeah, White's DFX, man. Pick one up, get the 300 model if you want the newer built machine. And you guys like, comment, subscribe, ask me any questions about this machine. I'll do my best to answer, to let you know what I can. But I just want to make this video, talk about the DFX. It is a fun machine. I can't tell you how many times I'm pulling back the soil and I'm seeing, like, I'll just leave you just this is my last 2.5 weeks of hunting with the DFX and the MXT. I found all these. Now, they're all fake. None of them silver and gold, which never happens to me. I'm having junk luck lately, but I did find actually 7 rings. These just 6 here. One of them was such a junky little kid's ring, it just broke apart in my hand and I kind of flinged it. But it is nice finding rings. This is a class ring from 1980. Palladium. It was pretty much stainless steel or something, just a fancy word for it. But it's fun when you find them, and I normally don't find fake stuff, so I'm looking for my luck to change. But you guys stay blessed. I know I normally do gun reviews, something new, but metal detecting is a lot of fun. It's a good hobby. You never know when you're going to have time to kill and be out there next to some sports field or playground or something, and you can just run out there and go over that and pull the jewelry out. And I can't tell you how many times, well, actually, I can, at least 7 times, I've been underneath a swing set and I've pulled out like a big silver ring. Or, I mean, every time you see swing sets, you can go get quarters out from under those things. So, normally here in this area. So, yeah, that's my review of the DFX, you guys. Great machine. So is the XLT, but don't be misled. These machines get good depth, and the features and the settings are a lot better than what's out there, even in the $600 and $700 range today. Keep in mind, when this machine hit the market in 2001, it was $1,200. So, and I still think they're easily worth $500 today, especially if it's something you're going to use a lot. If you're only going to use a metal detector 10 times a year, do yourself a favor and get that MXT, because all these settings, and I'll just be straightforward. Some of the custom programs are not custom, the programs that come stock on the machine, they suck. They really do. Like the coins program, I'm like, why would Whites make it that way? It's a monotone program, and I'm not going to get into it. Set it up this way, use the audio tones, you're going to be better off. So, all right, you guys, stay blessed. I'm gonna take off now.